January 30th, 1979, Tokyo, Japan. The night is cold, blanketed in a thick, freezing rain. On the tarmac of Narita International Airport, a massive Boeing 707 freighter is being loaded for a long-haul flight across the Pacific. But this is no ordinary cargo. Deep within the belly of this aircraft lies a fortune. Strapped securely in the hold are 153 original paintings by the renowned Japanese-Brazilian artist Manabu Mabe. The collection is valued at over $1.2 million. These masterpieces, returning home from a successful exhibition in Japan, are the prized payload of Varig Flight 967, a flying vault of canvas and paint preparing to cross the largest ocean on Earth. At 8:23 p.m., Flight 967 thunders down the runway and lifts into the dark, stormy sky. Its destination, Rio de Janeiro, with a scheduled fuel stop in Los Angeles. The aircraft is a heavily modified Boeing 707, a workhorse of the skies, built for endurance. For the first 20 minutes, the flight is completely, perfectly routine. At 8:55 p.m., just 32 minutes after takeoff, the aircraft's radio crackles to life. A routine position report is transmitted to air traffic control. The flight is cruising at 35,000 feet. The weather is clear above the storm systems. Everything is nominal. They are scheduled to report their position again in 40 minutes. But that second transmission never comes. The deadline for the radio check passes in total silence. Down on the ground, air traffic controllers attempt to hail Flight 967. They broadcast on primary frequencies, then on emergency channels. Nothing but the cold, hissing static of the Pacific ether. On the radar screen, the aircraft simply ceases to exist. When a massive commercial jetliner hits the ocean, it leaves a scar. Oil slicks, shattered fuselage, luggage, floating debris. It is violently messy. Yet, when the sun rises over the last known position of Flight 967, the search planes find absolutely nothing. It is as if the sky simply opened up and swallowed the Boeing 707 whole. For over 6 months, a massive international search operation scours the North Pacific. They cover thousands of square miles of unforgiving ocean. They deploy sonar, aerial sweeps, and maritime patrols. But not a single scrap of metal, not a single drop of jet fuel, and not a single shred of canvas is ever recovered. With no physical evidence, terrifying theories began to fill the void. The most logical explanation was a catastrophic, sudden depressurization event. At 35,000 feet, a structural failure could instantly suck the oxygen from the cabin. The crew would lose consciousness within seconds, turning Flight 967 into a silent ghost plane, flying on autopilot until the engines starved of fuel. But logic doesn't satisfy everyone. Because of the cargo, a darker theory emerged. Was this the perfect heist? A targeted hijacking to steal over $1 million in untraceable high-value art? Some whispered that the plane was deliberately flown low under radar coverage, landing on an obscure, abandoned airstrip deep in Soviet or rogue territory. If it was a heist, it was flawlessly executed. To this day, not a single one of Manabu Mabe's 153 paintings has ever surfaced on the black market. No underground auctions, no private collectors making a mistake. The art, much like the massive Boeing that carried it, vanished completely from human history. A third, chilling possibility remains: fire. An uncontrollable blaze igniting within the cargo hold, fueled by the wooden crates, the canvas, and the paint. In the dark skies over the Pacific, smoke would have rapidly filled the cockpit, blinding the crew, destroying electrical systems, and forcing a desperate blind plunge into the ocean before a distress call could even be made. The Pacific Ocean is vast, and in some places, it is unimaginably deep. If Flight 967 plummeted into one of the ocean's great trenches, it would be swallowed by miles of freezing, crushing water. In that eternal darkness, the pressure would crush the fuselage like a tin can, burying the wreckage and the truth in thick, undisturbed silt forever. With no wreckage, no black boxes, and no bodies, the investigation was eventually closed. Officially, the cause of the disappearance remains unknown. The case files sit in archives, a cold case that defies the logic of modern aviation. A massive commercial airliner cannot simply evaporate. Yet Varig Flight 967 did exactly that. 45 years later, the disappearance of Varig Flight 967 remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in the history of flight. Somewhere out there, whether crushed beneath miles of ocean, hidden on a forgotten airstrip, or perhaps forever flying in the dark corners of our imagination, lies a fortune in art. A fortune in art and a crew that never came home. The skies hold many secrets, but few are as silent or as valuable as the ghost flight of 967.